Today on Gem Pursuit, we are going to be looking at what might be one of the most recognisable motifs in the history of jewellery. The humble heart has been a symbol for love, devotion, secret messages and desire across generations. I'm Matthew Weldon, and today, ahead of Valentine's Day, we are going to be looking at the heart motif in jewellery. I'm joined today by Fenia in our Gem Pursuit studio. Fenia is our jewellery historian here in Courtville. Fenia, it's something that we all know about. It's a symbol that I think is instantly recognisable. I would dare say probably through most of the world. But where does this symbol originate from? Or do we even know exactly how old it is?
It's a very curious symbol, as you mentioned, and it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. You see it everywhere. And I think that we instinctively learn to reproduce it from a very young age. While I was doing research for this particular episode, I was wondering how it came to be. And there are very different theories about it. When we see a heart, I would say that it's a very conceptual depiction of the actual organ, right? We could say that it derives from the actual anatomical design of the heart itself. We have amulets from ancient Egypt. The Egyptians were they tended to mummify their dead, and during the process you remove the internal organs and store them in different jars. One of them is the heart. So they definitely knew how the organ looks like, and they tended to produce this type of small jars, sometimes amulets as well, that they called them the Ib, I-B. You might see different examples of the Ib in museums across the world. Sometimes they are bright red as well. They're very interesting, and they look like the symbol of the heart as we know it today. So if the ancient Egyptians, who knew how the anatomy of the heart works depicted the heart like that, then I think you have a very direct link between the object, the organ, and the symbol.
So that goes back to, ancient Egyptians, that goes back to what, 5th or 6th century BC or something like that?
Mm-hmm. There are different theories though. Some of them are very fun, some of them are more I don't know. I've read, Matthew, that there used to be a plant during the Roman times in the Mediterranean region, which was called the silphium. I'm not sure if you've heard of this plant.
I have never heard of the silphium plant.
I'm not surprised that you.
But I don't have a great botanical knowledge though, so it's not entirely surprising.
Well, I'm not surprised because it's extinct at this. So this plant was famous for you could use it as a contraceptive substance.
Really?
So the Romans used it so much that it actually went extinct. You can't see it today. You can find it today. Silphium, and it was very it was so famous that the Romans used to depict it on coins. We have coins that show the plant, the seeds of the plant, and if you do a very quick search online, you will see that the seeds look like a perfect heart, like the heart symbol today. So that's a theory, could be linked to this particular plant.
As I look at it there, it looks quite like a heart that we would know.
It's very difficult to pin down when this particular symbol was created. We can see traces of it in ancient times. It became very popular later on. We are sure, though, that it was widely used and established as a symbol during the Middle Ages. We have many examples of medieval manuscripts that depict the heart as we know it. One very famous example, one of the earliest, is a romance story called The Romance of the Pair. And we see in this manuscript, we can see a man offering his heart to his lover. And the heart has the shape of the heart symbol as we know it today. It's offered, it's upside down. That's very interesting.
It was based on the anatomical descriptions of the heart, which, if you think about your heart, gets closer to the top where the artery is. That the main artery there is at the top, but that's why, and that featured the point at the top, based on descriptions of the actual anatomy of the heart. And then the early examples of the jewellery that you'll see with this motif, you'll see early examples of rings. You'll see brooches that got little inscriptions inside them. And obviously, it seems obvious now, but they were love tokens if you were giving that actual motif, and worn by both men and women.
So I wanted to show you an example of late medieval, early Renaissance piece of jewelry that features a heart motif, which I found at the V&A, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it before. We'll probably ask our producer to put it online as well, as the pictures of it. So it's basically a 17th century engagement ring that features like two hearts that are embracing like an enameled red heart.
Wow.
And at the center, this heart has like a point cut diamond. It's a very beautiful piece, quite old, and I think it highlights the fact that like heart symbols were employed in very like quite old piece of jewelry. Personally, I thought that before we started doing research for this episode, I thought that the heart symbol is quite recent. But looking at pieces like that, like we have a better idea of how old this particular symbol is.
Just there, Fenia, I was glancing over at your screen at that medieval, what looks like kind of an early claddering, and obviously being Irish, I feel that every motif that looks like this revolves around a claddering, but it is not entirely correct to say that, right? Because they predate the claddering, which is really from the early 1700s. It's your classic kind of heart motif, the red enamel, the point cut diamond, but that's not the only type of heart. If you're listening, Fenia is actually wearing a very nice Victorian pendant with a ruby heart in the center and then beautiful old cut diamonds around it. It's about the size of your the nail on your thumb, that kind of size. Very beautiful Victorian one, and that's your classic heart motif. But what other type of hearts have we got?
Well, let's see, like winged hearts, hearts on fire, twin hearts as well. Yes. Twin hearts, and you mentioned the Claddagh heart as well, which brings to mind like a specific motif very prevalent in Scottish jewelry.
The word looking boots, which is spelled Luckenbooth, it comes from the way that the Scottish at the market, there are these kind of locked boots, and someone would say, if someone wanted to inquire about these locked boots, they'd say, oh, it's the locking boots. But that's a really typical Scottish motif, and we've had a few of those, and they tend to be, I remember I had a brooch, I don't know where I got it from, but it was in the shop, and it was these two hearts, and they kind of crossed over each other. So if you imagine two hearts beside each other, and then one side of each just kind of crossed over each other, and then I think it had like a crown and some scroll work underneath it. So it had kind of three elements, and it was a brooch. And that was a typical, I think, mid-1800s Scottish piece. We're not going to get through this episode without talking about the cladderings, Fenia, but I've ranted on enough about it. So why don't you give us we've talked about it before, we actually have an episode about the claddering, but why don't we just a quick summary of the claddering, because that obviously focuses with a heart at the center.
Mm-hmm. So down at the shop we have many examples of the claddering. Most of the times you see like a heart clasped between two hands, usually a crown on top as well. If you find one without the crown, it's even better. It's a rare example. Call it a Fenian claddering, I think. Yes. We have lots of like old examples. I think we used to have a Fenian claddering as well, Matthew.
We've had two. Mm-hmm. We've had two, actually. Only two ever. We had one, a few years ago, a massive one. It was really nice, like big, chunky gold. And it wasn't just that it was wide on your hand. It was like the gauge of the gold was beautiful. Like, it was really nice. That one we sold to a gentleman in Los Angeles, an Irish guy living there.
How old is as a symbol? The claddering, like how, what is the earliest example you have encountered yourself?
They go to the early 1700s. They were made, there's a few made in the early 1700s. They're extremely rare. Then they were made in extremely low quantities from like 1720 to about 1780. They almost don't exist. but then there was more of them made in the 1780s. They're very rare as well, but they're more available. If you're looking for an early 1700s one, that's an absolute rare find, very rare find. And we talked about some regional variations between Scottish and Irish. I mean, there's heart-shaped gemstones. I always try and keep one heart-shaped gemstone, one heart-shaped diamond anyway, in stock in the shop. We have one at the moment, but the Victorians were big into their heart jewelry. I think that's probably a really key time for, certainly in the Western world, and obviously there could be heart motifs in other ways that we don't understand, right? I've seen other heart-shaped jewelry from different places, carved hearts out of nephrite, a punamu, that's what that's called in Maori culture. But there's also Victorian heart jewelry. I mean, that's a big one.
Of course, yeah. The Victorians were famous for their sentimental pieces of jewelry. The heart motif is prevalent in Victorian jewelry design. Queen Victoria herself used to have like a charm bracelet with various enameled hearts hanging from it. Which is
yeah.
It's a very beautiful one, colored, different colors for each heart. I think the heart themselves contain like locks of her children's hair, if I'm not mistaken.
She had a few children.
She had a few children, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful bracelet.
Very sentimental, because these people, if you had a piece of mourning jewelry, it was someone that you loved very deeply. So it's very important to recognize that they were worn in different contexts as well. We can't not talk about Elsa Peretti for Tiffany & Co. because she really introduced an icon. I know people use the word icon a lot, but her jewelry was iconic.
Yeah.
Because it's still, that's what it means. Iconic to me is that it never goes out of fashion, I think. It's just iconic. You can always wear it. But her heart jewelry was a bit different.
It was, yeah. I'm pretty sure that if you don't know Elsa Peretti and you're not familiar with this particular design, this particular heart symbol, it's most likely that you have seen it. You're not sure that you know it, but you have seen it 100%. Like if you take a stroll around Dublin today and you look at the different like jewelry shops or windows, I'm pretty sure that you will find different interpretations of the original design by Elsa. Peretti was inspired to create this particular design by the work of like an artist, a sculptor from Britain called Moore, who was very famous for his large, like I think they're bronze sculptures. Usually they allude to the female form. They're very iconic because of they have hollow spaces in them. So they usually have like a part that it's like, hollowed, an empty space. And Peretti was she was going through like a book that featured the works of Moore. And after that, she decided to create the heart symbol that we know today. A very elegant design, like as the name suggests, like a heart with an open, like hollow space in the middle, slightly curved as well, usually worn through a chain. You will find it in different types of metals. At Tiffany, Peretti usually designed in silver. So I think that the original piece was created in silver, but you can find it in different metals as well.
It's a beautiful sculptural heart. It's like the outline of a heart. It's available. You can get it in rings. It can be in pendants. I mean, there's so many jewelers who are basically copying that heart to make symbols that look kind of like it, like the Elsa Peretti heart. Very cleverly, though, from a jewelry perspective, you know what's so great about this heart is that you put a chain through it and it hangs very nicely. You don't need to fix the chain onto it. You can just literally put a chain through it, and it's designed to just hang very comfortably. Peretti loved her jewelry to be very wearable and to feel nice, and I think that's so important with jewelry. It has to, when you get a ring and you feel it, it's like, oh, it's a good solid ring. It feels good. She often, I think when she was making her bone cuff, she used to just wear it and just kind of like rub it, like just to see how it felt on her. That was one of her big tests for it. So, and we do have an Elsa Peretti episode, and it's definitely worth a listen to that one as well. And the fact that we can reference a few other episodes just shows how important the heart motif has been across the board in jewellery history. You know, Fenia, there's some just incredible pieces I'd like to highlight now for a couple of minutes, because the motif is prevalent throughout jewellery, right? Of course, we all have seen heart motifs. We've got a few in the store. You're wearing one too today, in fact. Even I'm wearing one, actually. I've got my claddagh ring on, right?
You also have the cufflinks.
Oh, the cufflinks as well, yeah. Well, I don't know if we'll try to get a close-up of those if you're watching us. But if you're not, they are Victorian, heart-shaped blue enamel cufflinks with pearls in the center, double-sided cufflinks. So yeah, we're surrounded by hearts, right? I think there's 4 pieces. There's three kind of big pieces, and then a couple of little ones I'd like to talk about at the end, right? So let's talk about Elizabeth Taylor's Taj Mahal Diamond. We've talked about Elizabeth Taylor. This is one of the pieces we actually haven't looked at very closely, but it definitely deserves a closer look.
Indeed. This particular piece was included in the famous 2011 auction that happened after her death. A historic example as well. It features a large heart-shaped rose-cut diamond in the center, set in like a base that's mostly comprised out of jade, and it has different like table cuts around it and also like rubies as well. The most fascinating thing about this particular heart is that it's inscribed with the name of the first owner. So Taylor like acquired this piece of jewelry as a gift from her husband on her 40th birthday. A beautiful present, if you ask me. I would really like
Richard Burton.
Richard Burton.
Yeah, her husband. When you say her husband, I mean, there's one or two. So,
oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah.
It was Richard Burton.
Richard Burton. Yeah.
I think she had like seven husbands?
7 husbands. I married Burton twice, I think.
Twice,
so
yes.
8 marriages, 7 husbands.
Yes.
Yep.
So Burton gave this diamond to Elizabeth for her 40th birthday, and the diamond features like an inscription on it, carved on it, on the top, on the surface, that refers to the original owner of the diamond. So this particular piece, it was allegedly owned by the famous Mughal Empress Noor Jahan, which means, I think it means the light of the world. It was a honorary title given to her by her husband. She is a very interesting figure in Mughal history. She's supposed to be one of the most influential empresses ever in that empire. They say that she had like access to the imperial seal, which means that like official documents couldn't be signed and implemented without her approval. Her husband, the Emperor Jahangir, they say that he struggled with like different addictions, and he wasn't that like active in administration. So Noor Jahan took the opportunity and she basically ruled for him. She was the real force behind his rule, which is like fascinating, because I think that it's very nice to think that a very powerful, bold woman, like the diamond that she owned, went to another woman of equal status. If you think about it, Elizabeth Taylor wasn't like an empress, but she was like she ruled over people's hearts, if you think about it. Like she was that beloved, and like her celebrity status was as influential and like impressive as, I would say, an empress. So yeah, Noor Jahan, the diamond features her name and the date that it was given to her by her husband. The reason why we call it the Taj Mahal Diamond is because this particular diamond was later given by the emperor to his son, Shah Jahan, who is famous for creating the famous Taj Mahal mausoleum for his wife, who died in childbirth. He was extremely in love with his wife, and they said that when she died, he created this large like palace made out of white marble. It's very impressive. Have you had the chance to visit this?
Taj Mahal?
Yeah.
No, I've never.
I would really like to go. They say that it's like rosy gold in at dawn and impressively white in midday, and then silvered when the sun goes down.
Amazing piece. For totally different reasons, I think the next one is also equally interesting. The Blue Heart Diamond, 30.62 carats, deep blue, like incredible stone, discovered in South Africa in 1908. I think it's been set in different ways by Cartier, Van Cleef, Harry Winston. It's donated to the Smithsonian, and it's famous for its blue color, and it's obviously its shape, right? And its color is interesting because it's really a beautiful blue, right? And even blue diamonds today, a lot of them are just very light colored blue diamonds. And you almost have to look at it from a certain angle to actually pick out that it is blue. If you ask a child to pick out what color is blue, this would be like this blue, right? It's really a fantastic color in a diamond. There's the Graff Venus diamond, 118.78 carat. D color, flawless heart diamond, required custom tools to cut the cleft safely. That's quite incredible. Like, so even just creating the tools to cut this Graff diamond would have been, like, I'd say, a huge feat of engineering, of imagination and execution. Technically, I think that's one of the most ambitious diamonds ever cut, I would say. And a few celebrity ones: Lady Gaga's engagement ring, heart-shaped diamond. It was a Valentine's Day proposal. That's the end of my knowledge of popular culture. But no, I know that she has that ring.
There is also a famous design by Verdura as well, like a heart created out of cabochon rubies, wrapped within like almost, if they feel like stripes of diamonds, which is like really like a very imaginative design as well. Mm-hmm. And we also have like a beautiful example by the collection of Wallis Simpson. Yeah. She used to have like a large yellow diamond, heart-shaped. She wore this particular piece as a ring, and when it was later sold and moved on to the next owner, I think it was like recreated as a necklace because it was that big on the hands that it was actually uncomfortable.
Like, you've got very humble medieval pieces, very like from that ring that we talked about, the with the red enamel and the point cut diamond. Very humble medieval token, right up to some of the most iconic diamonds, like 118 carat deep flawless heart-shaped Graff piece. The heart shape is a timeless symbol, and it's not going anywhere. So Fenia, we can see like the heart-shaped symbol, it goes across the board, right? But like, honestly, what's your feeling of like a heart-shaped symbol? Like, I know you're wearing one today because I handed it to you in the shop before we started recording, right? But like,
what do you think about it?
Yeah, what do you think about it?
When I'm thinking of shapes, I'm thinking of diamond shapes. Especially at this time of my life, like I'm trying to learn more about it. And when I initially like discovered the heart shape, I thought that it was okay, but not as like impressive as other shapes that are out there. Now that I know like the technical like the abilities that a cutter has to have in order to like manufacture a diamond into that shape, how challenging it is, things like that, I'm more appreciative of the shape in a diamond as well. You appreciate things when you understand them more, and I think that as far as the heart shape is concerned, I think that I've acquired a much bigger appreciation for the symbol in general, now that we have gone through like the history of it and we have explored different like examples of gorgeous jewelry pieces that feature the heart shape.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's such an insightful way of putting it. The more you know about it, mm-hmm. it means more.
Do you think it sells as an item?
So as a dealer, what I tell you is that the whimsical, puffy hearts are not, I don't think they go as well. Right? I wouldn't be actively buying them. That type of thing, I don't know, is it just a bit cliche? Is it a bit naff? I don't know. It depends, right? I wouldn't be 100% sold on it. But I think the classic heart jewellery, particularly in the Victorian area, genuinely like the one you're wearing, is very elegant. It's really symbolic. The symbol is so deep and so important that I almost feel that it's a bit lost when people use a whimsical design of it. That's what I think about it. And I think when it's done elegantly and well and beautifully like that, I don't know if there's a better symbol.
I think you put it very well. Like, besides like the symbol itself, how you how you set how you create the whole jewelry piece is an important factor over it determines whether you're gonna like it or not. Like as we've seen, we have so many different interpretations of the heart symbol. It really depends on what you have in front of you. Yeah, I wonder if we are too afraid of embracing the heart symbol because it sets like a traditional, maybe stereotypical symbol of love.
I think you're right that some people are afraid to, but I would compare it to like a claddagh ring, right? When you go into, the high street shop and they've got a million varieties of the claddagh ring with some with emeralds and this shape and that shape, it doesn't appeal to me. But if you get a classic claddagh ring, what it's supposed to be, and obviously the claddagh ring has a heart in it, there's barely a ring better.
I see. So you say that it's so widely used as a symbol that after some point, like it loses its meaning, or we get bored of it. But when we see it employed in a very unique way, then we do realize like it's a lure.
It really means something very important and profound, and it can get lost if people use it without thinking of its importance. If you enjoyed our Valentine's Day special, make sure you click that subscribe button or follow us if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube. We'd also love to hear feedback, or if there's another motif perhaps you'd like to hear about, don't hesitate to let us know. You can do it on experts@courteville.ie, just send us an email, or on GemPursuitPod on Instagram. Thanks to Fenia for joining us today. Thanks for Colin for the video, Ross for producing the podcast, and Veronique for the research. But for me, Matthew Weldon, your host, thank you very much for listening. We will be back very soon with Gem Pursuit, but in the meantime, happy hunting.